Hey there, and welcome back. This is episode number 4 of Artificial Intelligence. And here we are. Today we're going to talk about plastic, an environmental issue. And let's just see what the artificial intelligence has to say about plastic. How long does it take plastic to disappear? Disappear or reabsorb back into the environment. Environment. See what it has to say about plastic. Okay, here we go. Let's see. It says plastic is notoriously slow to degrade in the environment, and the time it takes can vary widely depending on depending on the type of plastic and the conditions to which it's exposed. However, most common types of plastic, like those used in bags and bottles, can take anywhere from hundreds to thousands of years to decompose naturally. This is because plastics are composed of large, complex molecules that do not readily break down. Here are some general estimates for how long it takes different types of plastic to degrade under typical environmental conditions. Plastic bags, between 10 and 1,000 years. Plastic bottles, 450 years or more. Fishing line, 600 years. Disposable diapers, 450 to 500 years. Plastic six-pack holder, 400 years. It's important to note that even when plastics do eventually break down, they often fragment into tiny particles called microplastics, rather than disappearing or being fully reabsorbed back into the environment. These microplastics can still be harmful as they can be ingested by wildlife and even make their way into the human food chain. Says scientists are researching and developing more environmentally friendly plastics, such as biodegradable plastics and bioplastics made from plant materials. These types of plastics can degrade more quickly and more completely, but they require specific conditions to do so and are not without their own environmental concerns. Finally, recycling is an effective way to reduce the amount of plastic that ends up in the environment and extend the useful life of the materials. However, not all types of plastics can be recycled, and recycling programs vary widely in their reach and effectiveness. So, that seems pretty interesting and pretty serious. If you look at the state of most countries in the world, no one is really stepping back from using plastic. So let's ask the artificial intelligence, how do they, what does the artificial intelligence see the future with plastics involved in the environment? How long will it take before all bodies of water are filled with plastic garbage? Please give your best estimate. So my question is, I'm asking the artificial intelligence, how long will it take before all bodies of water are filled with plastic garbage? That means I'm talking oceans, lakes, um, rivers, because the reason why I'm asking that question is if you look here, if these plastic bags, plastic bottles, fishing line, disposable diapers, plastic six-pack holders are not disintegrating or degrading under normal environmental conditions for several hundred years, if you really look at most countries, we're not stopping the use of plastic bags, plastic bottles, fishing line, disposable diapers, plastic six-pack holders. We're it's such a ingrained part of the way we live. We haven't come up with any alternatives. So let's see what the artificial intelligence comes up with as an answer for how long it will take before all bodies of water are filled with plastic garbage. And I'm asking the artificial intelligence to give us its best estimate. Let's see what it says. Okay, it says it's extremely challenging to predict with certainty when or even if all bodies of water will be filled with plastic garbage because this situation depends on a vast array of factors. These factors include future human behavior, technological advancements, changes in policy and regulation, and global efforts to reduce, reuse, recycle, and clean up existing plastic waste. Let's see. It's known that plastic pollution is a significant and growing problem in the world's oceans, lakes, and rivers. A widely cited study from 2015 estimated that 8 million metric tons of plastic waste enter the world's oceans each year. However, this doesn't mean the oceans are being filled with plastic. Although the amount of plastic is large and harmful, it's still vastly outweighed by the volume of oceans. Furthermore, many organizations and governments are working hard to address the issue of plastic pollution. There's increasing emphasis on transitioning to a circular economy where waste is minimized. Materials are kept in use for as long as possible, and the end of life options for all materials are optimized. So, it doesn't really, the artificial intelligence really doesn't give us an answer, but let's see if we can ask the question a different way. If nothing changes and plastic usage continues to remain exactly the same, please give an estimate of when all bodies of water will be filled with plastic garbage. Plastic garbage. Let's see. Okay, it seems to still act as if it can't answer that question. It says, unfortunately, even with the exact conditions of your question, it's not really feasible to provide a precise timeline from when all bodies of water would be filled with plastic garbage for several reasons. It's talking about the scale of the Earth's bodies of water, variable rates of plastic degradation, dynamic systems, plastic density. Okay, so it kind of dances around the issue, but they're really, it probably, the artificial intelligence could probably really calculate an answer. So let's see, hypothetically speaking, Please give an answer. Obviously will not be accurate, will not be completely accurate. See what it says now. Okay, now it digs in a little bit deeper. For the sake of argument, let's consider the oceans alone, which cover about 360 million square kilometers and have an average depth of 3.7 kilometers. That's around 1.332 billion cubic kilometers of water. Now let's consider a study from 2015 which estimated that 8 million metric tons of plastic waste enter the oceans each year. Assuming all that plastic could somehow be evenly distributed throughout the entire volume of oceans, which in reality wouldn't be the case due to factors like ocean currents and the buoyancy of most plastics, and assuming that the rate of plastic pollution and the volume of the oceans remain constant, which also wouldn't be the case due to factors like plastic degradation and sea level rise. You could divide the volume of the oceans by the annual volume of plastic pollution to get a very rough idea of how long it would take to fill the oceans with plastic. However, the comparison is not straightforward because plastic waste is not measured in volume but in weight. To convert from weight to volume, you need to know the density of the plastic, which can vary widely depending on the type of plastic and other factors. So let's see. Even if we could calculate this, this would be a gross oversimplification of a highly complex problem. And again, it's critical to note that in reality, the oceans could never be truly filled with plastic due to the factors of plastic degradation, ocean currents, the buoyancy of most plastics, and the vastness of the oceans themselves. Rather than thinking in terms of oceans being filled with plastic, it's more helpful and accurate to focus on the proven harm that plastic pollution is already causing to marine life and ecosystems, even at the current levels. Okay, so the artificial intelligence really isn't trying to answer that question, but there is an answer if you really think about it and you look at how some countries have their rivers already filled with plastic garbage. So it is already happening in some places. So for the artificial intelligence to act as if it can't answer that question really isn't helping anything because we can calculate that on our own because we can see it already happening. So just because it doesn't calculate exactly or even it doesn't want to estimate what it would look like or how long it would take, it already exists. You can see on some other YouTube videos where the plastic garbage has floated to different islands and they attempt to clean it up, and it's just so much that keeps floating to these particular islands because of the currents of the ocean that it's overwhelming them. So just because it wasn't calculated or estimated, that doesn't mean that there's no problem. So in this case, when we're looking at the artificial intelligence, it's trying not to really answer the question, but there is a problem. So I'm going to attempt to ask it a different way. If you how long would it take for plastic garbage to cover the surface of all bodies of water? Okay, let's ask a question a different way. Let's see what it says now. Okay, let's ask the question a different way. How long would it take for plastic garbage to cover the surface of all bodies of water? Only the surfaces. That should be easier for you to estimate a hypothetical situation. See what it says now. Okay, it's attempting to give us some calculations. Now let's see. Okay, so it finally did give us at least kind of an idea. And obviously, this isn't a concrete example or concrete proof or concrete facts. It's just giving an estimate, which we should be able to do. We're just using the artificial intelligence to do the calculations for us. So let's see. It basically says if the entire surface of Earth's oceans is 360 million square kilometers, it would take 63 years to cover the surface completely, assuming no plastic is removed or degrades and all of it stays on the surface. So there we have an answer. Which, can we say that this answer is realistic? Maybe not realistic. Is it oversimplified? Most likely. But if we just continue to use plastic as we are all using plastic as we speak in today's time period, we've already seen that plastic just doesn't disappear. It doesn't just go away. It takes thousands of years, hundreds of years for it to disappear. So even if it's not filling all the bodies of water on Earth, it could definitely cover the surface. And the artificial intelligence is just giving us a simplified answer. And it's saying 63 years to cover the surfaces of bodies of water, assuming that no plastic is removed and assuming that none of it degrades and all of it stays on the surface. Okay, so now we can kind of see that that's a future that's not that far away. So now we're just going to jump into one other aspect of it just to touch on the seriousness of plastic. Let's ask the artificial intelligence this question. Is plastic in our blood stream? Actually, let's ask it this way. Are plastic particles in the bloodstream of most humans? Let's see what it has to say about that. So we're asking, are plastic particles in the bloodstreams of most humans? Okay. Okay, so it says there's growing concern about the potential for microplastics, tiny pieces of plastic less than 5 millimeters in size. There's growing concern about the potential for microplastics to enter the human body. These tiny particles can be found in various sources like food, bottled water, and even in the air. Studies have found evidence of microplastics in human feces, which suggests that they are indeed being ingested, likely through food and water. The extent to which they might accumulate in the body or the potential health impacts of such accumulation is not yet clear and is the subject of ongoing research. While there's potential for microplastics to enter our bodies, as of the last update for this particular artificial intelligence, there's no concrete evidence to suggest that plastic particles are present in the bloodstream of most humans. It's a complex issue that requires further investigation to determine the possible routes of exposure, the potential for microplastics to cross into the bloodstream from the digestive tract or lungs, and the potential impacts on human health. However, the potential for human exposure to microplastics and the increasing evidence that these exposures are indeed occurring underlies the importance of efforts to reduce plastic pollution and further investigate its potential impacts on human health. So, just to sum it up, we as people who live here on the planet probably should take a closer look at our extensive use of plastic and begin to come up with alternatives. Because as you can see from above, these plastic items that we use on a daily basis that we really rely on, uh, it's not going to disappear. And it just doesn't degrade or just fade away. We're looking at plastic bags. For it to just disappear is 10 to 1,000 years. Plastic bottles, 450 years or more. Fishing line, 600 years. Disposable diapers, 450 to 500 years. Plastic six-pack holders, 400 years. So we're going to end on that note. And if you like, please ask some questions, comment. Your thoughts would be pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting subject matter, and it's pretty easy to ask an artificial intelligence to estimate some things for us, to do the math and the calculations, because a lot of times when we get into different conversations, we're not able to quickly come up with facts and figures off the top of our head. But using artificial intelligence, at least you can kind of get a clearer understanding of the how deep a subject may go and how it's not that easy to just simplify it. But, as we continue to use artificial intelligence to make the question and make the problem a little bit more explainable and a little bit more relatable, makes it easier for people to discuss different topics with each other. So, once again, this is episode number 4 with artificial intelligence. Please share this video, like and comment, subscribe to the channel, and looking forward to hearing stuff from you in the comment section.